At the end of the day, the flavor is why people get their milk straight from the cow. Vols told us he's had people travel as far as 2 hours just to get their hands on it. Dubiel says times are so hard that people end up having to choose between groceries and other necessities like medication. Church. It isn't always held in a traditional building with pews and a cross. I spoke with one group in Auburn that holds services in an unlikely setting. Now, if you want to cut down on the amount of sodium you're getting in your diet, Dr. Bashari says just stop going to the canned food section of your grocery store. Take this can of mushrooms, for example. Just one serving can have almost 20% of your daily value of sodium. Bullying has no limits. It can affect people at school, home, and even the workplace. We've known for years that bullying exists, and the escalation of teenage suicide, referred to earlier as bullycide, has made it undeniable. To further explore this issue from several perspectives, I sat down with people from Syracuse who have been bullied, worked with bullies, and who've even admitted to being the bully. Here at Cafe at 407, owners say you can get more than just coffee and a sandwich. You also get a taste of self-love with every bite.
So are we all set for our cover shoot next week?
Farah Jadran is a graduate of the Newhouse Master's Program and works as the managing editor of Syracuse Woman magazine. She says she has had to rise above gender discrimination in previous jobs to get to where she is now.
I experienced it a little bit myself when I wasn't working in journalism. I was working in the marketing field, and I felt very discriminated against just because I worked in an all-female department and everyone kind of looked down on that department.
But Jadran is not alone. According to a recent study, women who have their MBA are getting paid nearly $5,000 less than men in their first job. Pamela Susadale manages the graduate distance program for executives pursuing their MBA online at Syracuse University. She says women can increase their chances of getting a higher salary by highlighting their talents.
So one of the things that we really stress here at Whitman for our women is really for them to be able to articulate what their value is when they go into a negotiation, a salary negotiation.
One Central New York business executive says that if you're making less money at your job because you're a woman, owning your own business can be a great way to rise above it.
You're the one that at the end of the day gets to put the monetary value on your skill set. So, you know, the market, a small town market for, let's just say consulting services, small business consulting services, might only bear, $50 an hour, but if you don't want to make $50, you want to make $100 an hour, then the onus is on you to go find the market that will compensate you for that.
Jadran says although women with qualifications like having an MBA still experience biases in the workforce, pursuing higher education is still a step in the right direction. Candace Dunkley, NCC News.
We want to bring the illegality of the drones into the courtroom.
Vicki Ross is taking part in a support gathering for the Hancock 38. The people arrested last April for protesting drones that are remotely operated at Hancock Air Force Base. The drones have been used in attacks on Afghan militants, but the protesters say they have also killed civilians. To convey their message, the protesters splattered themselves with fake blood to represent what they say are innocent victims. The Hancock 38 were charged with disorderly conduct after they refused an order to leave. At today's support gathering, the protesters are holding another die-in to show they will continue spreading their message. Now, although the protesters didn't have a permit for where they did the die-in, they're saying that necessity is their defense. They say that sometimes you have to do something that we would normally look at as illegal in order to prevent something worse from happening. Ross compares it to breaking into a house in order to save a life.
The necessity defense allows you to break that minor law, which is that you should not trespass into somebody's house, for the greater good of saving a life. And that is exactly what we did.
Syracuse University media law professor Courtney Barclay says necessity is really a form of civil disobedience, a tactic that various activists have used for years in order to fight for justice in their communities. She says although this has been used to promote change, it is not an actual defense in court.
One of the reasons that the First Amendment doesn't protect civil disobedience is so that as a whole in society we're not encouraging lawless action. That being said, historically civil disobedience has been effective, and looking back, sometimes it's necessary but the protesters who engage in that do have to be willing to take the consequences.
Protesters we spoke to say although they are hopeful they will be found not guilty, they are willing to accept the consequences, even if that means time in prison. Candace Dunkley, NCC News. Kathy Verbeck has been buying her milk at Grey Rock Farm for about a year. She is one of a growing number of people across the globe ditching pasteurized milk found in grocery stores for raw milk that comes straight from the cow. Verbeck says now that she has started drinking it, she'll never go back.
But I feel so much better drinking this. I have told a million people about it. I mean, they all love it.
Matt Valls is the farm manager at Grey Rock Farm. He says raw milk has a better flavor and is actually healthier than pasteurized milk.
Raw milk hasn't been pasteurized, so the beneficial bacteria that are naturally occurring in the milk are not killed off by that pasteurization process. So our customers that drink the raw milk and everybody here at the farm that drinks the milk gets the benefit of those bacteria.
But Syracuse University dietitian Jane Uzgadicki says the bacteria left in the milk is what makes unpasteurized milk dangerous.
We hear about foodborne illness outbreaks. The most recent example was with the listeria and the cantaloupes. Raw milk and raw cheeses could potentially be contaminated with listeria, and so could end up with the same outbreak.
But Uzgadicki is not alone in her views. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, raw milk can carry harmful bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria that can all cause foodborne illnesses. The FDA says pregnant women, the elderly, people with weakened immune systems, and children should be especially careful. Verbeck says she has no concerns and will continue to drink it.
I think if I had a baby, I would give the baby raw milk, to tell you the truth.
At the end of the day, the flavor is why people get their milk straight from the cow. Valls told us he's had people travel as far as 2 hours just to get their hands on it. Lucky for Verbeck, she lives pretty close to Grey Rock Farm. She says she'll take raw milk over store-bought milk any day.